Good evening and welcome to a special Bitcoin all-time high and Vantage live stream. Bitcoin is breaking to new all-time highs tonight, $113,000 after we briefly broke above 112k last night. The entire market is green. We are seeing nice gains across the market, some coins up a lot more than others. XRP trying to break that 250 level. We've got Ethereum back above $2,800, and of course Bitcoin showing massive strength and leading the market as usual. At the same time, we have just launched our very own Vantage, and we'll dive into that shortly, but the pre-sale is now open. We'll drop the link in the chat, and if you're new to the channel, we will go through everything you need to know for Vantage. So after testing the lows back down at 98k with the Iran-Israel conflict a few weeks ago, we've been saying the markets look bullish. Every chart last week looked extremely bullish, and it was just a matter of time, it was just a matter of patience, and we finally got the break in the last couple of days. As you can see on the screen just now, we've had this kind of downtrend that goes all the way back to May for Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke out of it at the start of July, so about 8 days ago, but we've kind of just been trading sideways. There's not been a lot of volume in the market. You can see kind of a bit of a bull flag here type formation forming, and we had kind of been telling members that this was part of the process and it was patience that everybody needed, and eventually the explosive move higher was going to come. And when the market does go that quiet, no volume, not a lot of trading, prices kind of sideways and boring, that's normally a signal that something big is coming. And of course, we then get yesterday's candle taking us to 112k, back to all-time high. This morning, what was quite interesting is the target of this downtrend breakout was $110,500. This morning, we checked back to it perfectly, tested its support, and then blasted through the all-time high. Currently, $113,600, and the market looks extremely strong. Everything looks good, and we've not even got to rate cuts, we've not even got to QE, we've not got money printing, we've just got signals of it coming. So it should be an exciting 6 months, certainly next 90 days, but we are very bullish, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum looking great. We've had this parallel channel in play since 11th of May. Just kind of consolidated through it. We had a fake out to the upside, we had a fake out to the downside, and we finally broke out of the channel. Interestingly, today's candle is right in line with the last fake out for the 11th of June. If we get a close above that level, above 2820, then for me, Ethereum looks very ripe for an explosive move higher. Above $3,000, I actually think this orange line up here, about 3,240, looks like an interesting target over the next few days. If we continue this momentum, and if we see any more bullish news, we can, well, I in particular thought that the market was looking for that catalyst, you know, that event, that news story to really propel it much higher. Never really got anything. We got the Fed meeting minutes released on Wednesday saying that, you know, the Fed were likely going to cut twice this year, starting in September. A few people suggesting July, but nothing major, nothing really to send markets higher. The tariffs have been pushed back again, but the tariff noise has kind of disappeared. Inflation is trending down, which makes it more likely the Fed can cut. But really, we've had loads of minuscule stories, but nothing major to really spark this move. But it is timed. Everything is timed. We've been saying for a few weeks, probably a few months, that everything Trump was doing was just to front run the pain in the economy. We saw tariffs, we saw conflict, we saw inflation, we saw him attacking Powell, we saw him fighting with Elon. All that in the first 6 months of his presidency. Approval ratings are up and down. But now, I think now we'll see what the whole purpose of the first 6 months was, and we'll see a massive run on the markets into the second half of the year, and it's going to be led by crypto. I think crypto is going to have a very bullish 6 months. I think, for me, crypto's going to lead the way. I think the Mag 7's probably starting to top out. I think the AI trade is fully in play, and that's going to bleed into crypto. If we have a look at XRP, we can see XRP showing amazing strength. We've kind of broken out of this range here below 232. You can see it was quite a stubborn resistance. We had hit it here in May, here in June, hit it just at the start of the week. We've now broke above it. We've broke above the 200-day moving average at the same time. Always look for those confluences. So the 200-day moving average at a stubborn resistance. You know, once we break it, it's going to be very strong. And the target for me now is about 266, I believe. Yeah, 266, the top of this downtrend, which started back in May. Coincides with this wick low from January, which there was a lot of liquidity in that move. And I do think we'll get there in the next few days if we stay this strong. Once we do get to that level, there is a chance that we get a bit of a retracement, kind of sideways, maybe a bit boring for a couple of days before we finally get that full-blown move up to the all-time high. But the market looks unreal, to be fair, and we could just see these bullish patterns all over the place. You've got Solana, we had this downtrend, it broke the downtrend and immediately went into a bullish pennant. We broke out of that. We're sitting right at the target of that bullish pennant. We are also on course for 168 Solana, the first target of this downtrend. There's just so many bullish patterns, it's hard not to get wrapped up in the excitement from the moves. You can see Total 2 broke above 200-day moving average, sits right at this candle top, which you can see is quite a key area dating back. So everything looks bullish. We'll go through some charts tonight. If there is any you have some interesting takes on or you want to share, drop them in the comments. We will cover Vantage as well for anyone tuning in that's not managed to purchase so far. We'll explain what Vantage is, why we are so bullish on it, and why now we are launching the token. And we'll wrap up some news as well. So drop some comments if you want anything covered, if you've got anything you want to ask. Q&As are normally pretty good as well. And we'll just quickly run through some of the charts. But first off, I just wanted to show Donald Trump tweeting today, tech stocks, industrial stocks, NASDAQ all-time high, record highs, crypto through the roof, Nvidia up 47%, and of course he doubles down on his tariff war. I think the tide is kind of turning. I think people have been anti-Trump. There's been a massive move against Trump all year, all his policies. There was going to be a recession, there was a Great Depression coming. Everybody was so negative on everything he was doing. I think he's now getting a bit of vindication, and I think this was always going to happen. We've said it for months that there was no way Trump was going to allow the market to drop into a recession. He wasn't going to ruin his legacy. And what we also said was people weren't looking at the details. People were just looking at Trump says something, so it must be negative, rather than the actual details. And what we're now seeing is tariffs are bringing in revenue for the US government, and at the same time, inflation is dropping. So it goes against everything everybody said would happen. And the stock market is at all-time highs. So I think that's really bullish. I think that'll feed into crypto. We've got the Genius Act getting passed. The Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is next on the agenda. Framework for trading and futures and crypto on the broader scale is going to come in. We've got ETFs coming very soon. We saw the Solana ETF go live. So everything is shaping up for a very bullish second half of 2025. And I think one thing we spoke about, and it can't be undermined too much, is the Circle IPO was the signal. And we said this when it went live. We've had a bit of retracement, but still up 7x from its IPO price, pre-IPO price. Circle IPOing and going absolutely through the roof just sent that signal that Wall Street loves crypto. Wall Street wants crypto. And you think, we've got the Nasdaq at all-time highs. In my opinion, the stock market will go a bit higher, but then we will see rotation into crypto because Wall Street's greedy. They want the next massive return, the massive payday, and crypto is ripe for it, especially with regulation coming very soon. So I think we'll see that. I also think AI is going to feed into it massively. I think AI over the next kind of 18 months is going to play a massive role in GDP growth, stock market gains, shares, earnings, all that stuff is going to be impacted by AI. And I think people are underestimating the impact it's going to have across the economy. And it's going to be hugely bullish for Bitcoin because it's going to allow governments around the world to print trillions of dollars and offset it by the efficiencies and the economic advantages that AI brings. So, and I think everybody's underestimating it. I've spoken about it for months. We can maybe cover it if we get into it later. But for now, let's look at rates. So we've not even got any rate cuts and we're already seeing markets move. Let's refresh this because I think this is maybe old. But July coming up on the 30th of July. I don't think we're going to get a rate cut. It looks like no chance unless something dramatically changes. But September, 65% chance. There is no chance we get to October without a rate cut, in my opinion. I think Trump would have a heart attack if that happened. And especially because you've now got true inflation. So US inflation is predicted at 1.68%. So way below the Fed's target. It also signals a trend, which means inflation's dropping faster than expected. Rates are still high. And yeah, I expect us to see some movement in rate cuts. One interesting thing that I think everybody's missing right now is the DXY could bounce. And I don't actually think that's going to be bad for risk assets. But if you look at here, this goes back to 2011, this channel. You'll probably see it a couple of times now because it's getting more coverage. If we break below this, the dollar will go to 74. It'll go to 2011 levels. I don't think anyone wants it that low. I think the US government could handle it down at maybe 89 down here. I don't think they could handle it down here. I think that would make it very tricky for imports. But what we could see is a resurgence in dollar strength, and I think part of the Fed holding rates high right now is so that they have that ability to strengthen the dollar. But I'll maybe go into that in a podcast soon. Let's have a look at the Borg chart. So on the daily time frame, just kind of consolidating. Maybe on the 3-day, it does look kind of like a double bottom. I think Borg is going to need some more retail FOMO in the market to really get it moving. I think if you look at when Borg does well, it's when there's a lot of euphoria in the market, when there's a lot of hype. We saw it do really well back in December. That was kind of when the altcoins broke out. And I think it will just follow the market. I think this, for me personally, this move has caught a lot of people offside or off guard. There's so many people that you look on Twitter, look on any social media platform, everybody was so negative about the summer for crypto because Trump and tariffs and all that stuff that was going on. And we kept saying that Trump keeps doing things not to benefit Wall Street. So he launched his meme coin when markets were closed. He announced tariffs when Wall Street was closed. He keeps doing things to try and benefit other people than just Wall Street. And again, summer should be a bad time for markets. It should be a bad time for crypto. Selling may go away. Not this year, not under Trump, because that's just what he does. It's a trend. So we've been saying it for a while, but I think people got caught up in the hype that it was going to be a bad summer, so they've taken time off. You see it in engagement with crypto investment. You see all the bearish posts on Twitter get more engagement than the bullish posts. Everybody bought into this bearish scenario, this recession, deflation, depression, selling may go away. Everybody bought into that narrative so heavily that I actually think retail's been caught offside. I think it's great for everybody that's in the market because people are going to buy back and they're going to buy heavy and they're going to buy late and high. So that's good for us. But I think that's why we're probably not seeing massive FOMO in something like Borg, because retail really hasn't came back into the market yet and they've kind of been caught offside. So yeah, very bullish for the second half of the year. I think we'll see that retail FOMO very soon, especially with Bitcoin breaking out. I think if we do get that more explosive move, because what are we? You know, we touched what 108k in December, 109k in January, 112k in May. We're now at 113k. I think we need to see something like a significant move in the market. Ethereum just blasting an absolute god candle would do it. Bitcoin 120k, I think that would send the signal that people are missing the boat, and then we'll see that retail FOMO. And I think that's when Borg does really well, in my opinion. Somebody has to look at Opulus. 10% today, nice move. We did kind of predict that when the altcoin market broadens out, we see that breadth. Coins like this will do really well. You see Inspect up at 25% today, Opulus up 10%. These coins will move quite quickly for two reasons. One, market cap is tiny, and the second reason is there's no sell pressure. Like, nobody's selling down here. So yeah, I think we will start to see big moves, double-digit moves on coins across the market. I think we still need Bitcoin to go a bit higher and then trade sideways for a bit and let the altcoins run. You look at Bitcoin dominance, it's barely moved. We're down, what? Less than 2% from its high. That's not going to get altcoins moving. Altcoins, especially the small market caps, aren't going to start flying until Bitcoin dominance breaks down below 60%, starts getting closer to 50%. That's when you'll see these 30-40% moves in altcoins in like a few hours or a day. You'll see a decent sized market cap coin just absolutely rip 30-40%. But you need dominance to really put in some of these massive red candles and start dumping fast before that's going to happen. And remember, the others chart is still not even really broke out. On the 3-day chart, we're still below the 3-day 200 moving average, still below the 200 daily moving average on the daily. The others chart is everything outside the top 10. We're still only at 252 billion, with a target for this market cap of, well, at least 1 trillion, 1.5 trillion. So still got a good 5-6x to go just in this market cap. Still got to double just to get back to its all-time high. So it's nice. There's a lot of green. Bitcoin's at all-time high. Ethereum, XRP, they're all moving nicely. This is just very early shoots. I was saying to Deck before it came on, Bitcoin's at 113k. Some coins are still at bear market lows. You look at Chili's, absolute nowhere. Look, like crazy. You know, they're still down at what? February 2021 prices. Polygon's a bad example. Polkadot, again, still not even recovered back to its 2023 lowest close. Still below basically all of 2020. Algorand starting to kind of recover a little bit. VeChain, again, crazy lows. So people just need to have patience now, as well as they've had for the past 2 years. It's important to have patience now. Not everything's going to pump at the same time. Not everything's going to fly 40-50% this week, next week. It's going to take a bit of time for the market to really digest the new capital coming in, the new profits. It takes a bit of time, so everybody just needs to stay calm. I saw somebody in CC Pro today tell a story about chasing a pump in December. He sold a coin because it wasn't moving to buy something that was green and doing really well. The coin he bought stopped performing. The coin he just sold pumped and flew. It's the worst feeling in the world, and I would urge everybody just to sit on their hands, let it play out. We have barely got started in an altcoin season. don't even know if I could call it an altcoin season yet. We've had 2 days of really nice moves, and yeah, I would just urge caution right now to not get too ahead of ourselves. Right, let's talk about Vantage. Well, before we do that, let's talk about CC Pro. If you're not in CC Pro, it is our members only Discord group. The link is in the chat to sign up. We have everything you need to be successful in crypto. Members updates, beginner suite, we do tutorials, we've got trading, we've got TA, we do a weekly market report, we have project updates, we do a bit of meme coins, we've got the podcast, and ultimately we're just kind of there on hand day in, day out to guide people through investing, the emotions, the mentality, and just kind of keep everybody sane, especially when crypto goes into the boring, drawn out periods that we know it can. So for me, CC Pro, if you're not in it, one, it's not just about making you money, it's all about saving you money, making sure you don't lose money, and yeah, we think our members are going to be very, very successful this bull run, and yeah, we're very bullish for it. So we've kept everybody sane during the bad times. We've made sure everybody didn't sell and leave crypto, although I know it was tempting for a lot of people. And yeah, they're going to be rewarded for their patience. But if you want to sign up, you want to get involved, you want that kind of daily education, that daily updates, so that you know who to follow, CC Pro is the place to be. We've also got a section on moving to Dubai, which, given everything that's going on right now, might be very attractive to a lot of people. Right, let's jump to Vantage. So after spending 9 years in the business, Deck and Dawn, I've been with them for a while now, we decided it was finally time to launch our own project. But more importantly, we were kind of fed up of the traditional crypto projects. So what normally happens, people come up with an amazing idea, but they don't know how to finance it, they don't know how to develop it, so they just launch a token. They raise a few $1 million and then they go about trying to build the business that they're trying to build to create and solve whatever problem they've came up with. They use token as a token and crypto as a vehicle for kind of fundraising, and hopefully that crypto comes into play at the end somehow. So few actually deliver a product at the end. Very few have real users, and even fewer still finally deliver any returns or value for an investor other than the token pumping. So I keep saying this, like, this doesn't change my opinion on altcoins. Crypto is going to explode higher this year. Altcoins will do very well. But ultimately, does anyone actually believe in 10 years or even 5 years the tokens they hold, they'll use on a day-to-day basis, they'll use the product, or the product will even exist if it's not around now? Probably not. Very few will last. On top of that, we were frustrated because if you think about, if we look at the total too, so the altcoin market cap is barely moved. If you think about it right now, we're sitting at 1.23 trillion. Well, we were there in 2022. So ultimately the market's pretty much moved sideways during that time. And while you're holding your altcoins, sure, you can buy lower, but unless you're selling, you can't realize any of those gains, and you probably don't want to sell in and around here because you want much, much higher prices. So you've invested loads of capital, you're sitting on your hands and you can't do anything, and you're not earning from it, it's just stuck. So for me, Deck and Dawn, we wanted to create a token that provided long-lasting value, was something we could be proud of, and was something that would benefit everyone long-term. So we created Vantage. So Vantage delivers passive income paid in USDT, so US dollars tether, every single month. We don't pay tokens because normal projects, when you stake, you earn their tokens. But that just means every month you're going to sell their tokens. So there's constant sell pressure. And if the token's down 95%, do you care about earning them every month? Of course not. You'd rather cash in your pocket, just like a dividend paying stock. And that is the easiest way to think of this. It's like a dividend stock. Every month you stake your tokens and you earn a percentage of the returns from the fund. So we came up with Vantage. The pre-sale is open right now. We did a CC Pro community round on Tuesday, sold out in under an hour. Massive response from the CC Pro community, as expected. We now have the public sale open, and we are selling tokens that will be used to fund Vantage, and then we'll start returning monthly yield to every single token holder that stakes. TGE will be ideally around September, October time. Monthly payouts will begin then, and the fund will be earning anywhere between 2, 3, 4% per month, and there's no cap on the upside. We think on average it'll achieve between 6 and 10% per month returns. So way better than any other investment, and we're committed to making it long term. We only make money from this from the tokens, so it's not like a meme coin where it's a massive cash grab. It's not like a normal token. We literally were so frustrated by the number of nonsense tokens that delivered zero value to any holder, and we've worked back from that goal. So our goal was to basically reverse engineer everything you know about crypto and create something. And by using crypto to raise the funds, we're basically using crypto for what it was designed for. We're democratizing access, so you can invest for as little as you want. You earn yield every month, and it's all done on the blockchain. There's no withdrawal fees, there's no early exit fees. You can buy, you can sell. If you want to add more to your holdings, you can add more. If you want to sell some, you can sell. You can do whatever you like, and it's pretty much hands off as well. So I'll drop the link in the chat for anyone watching or anyone watching back that hasn't taken part so far. But yeah, the pre-sale's open now. Price, the FTV is 7.5 million. We aim to TGE around 10 million. So this is literally how cheap it will ever be. Once we start posting the monthly returns, we expect the value of the token to skyrocket, because no other token is delivering month-on-month value for its token holders. And nice to see Lango has grabbed some as well. You need USDT on Solana, on Phantom to take part, but it's super easy. There's a little guide when you first go to the website as well. So check it out. Let me know if you get any problems, and we will jump back to the charts. Let's have a look at VeChain. I'll have a look at Velo, but I think it was somebody else that you were talking about Velo if it was from CC Pro. Let's have a look. Right, let's have a look at VeChain. So I kind of covered it a wee bit earlier, but still down in the lows here. We're just hovering on top of kind of the bear market low range. So if we look at, let's sort this box. So if we said that was the bear market low range, you can see we're just sitting on top of it right now after dropping back into it. I do think these coins will do well, so I don't have any concerns about things like Polkadot, VeChain, Algorand, Chainlink. Some of these, I keep calling them legacy coins, but some of the older tokens I think will do very well. I just think it's going to take a bit of time. They're not as exciting, they're not as sexy, they're probably not as low market cap for new entrants, and they're also probably not got the hype around them because they kind of lived off that before. But what they do have is history. What they do have is longevity. They've lasted, they've survived a bear market, and now they're still performing. That's attractive to more institutional Wall Street type investors. That's why the ETFs are focused around the top kind of 20 coins, because they've shown that they can last. We're not going to get an ETF for something like Oculus or something like that. We're not going to get an ETF for something in, you know, the bottom 500 coins or whatever. Like, it's just not going to happen. So that's why these legacy coins, they have their place in the market, and I do think some capital will flow into them from ETFs, from funds, from hedge funds, because they want exposure to the market. They want maybe a bit more risk than Bitcoin, but they don't want total risk that it could go to zero. And I think by surviving a bear market, that's like a badge of honor for these coins. So it should set them up for success. Right now, for me, I was looking at this earlier, I think this orange line should probably come down a little bit, and maybe sit around there. I think if we got back above, what's that, 0.03229, then you would expect quite a nice breakout from there. There's no real resistance in the chart. Maybe around this area here, 0.447. But after that, you should see some quick movements. And I think that's the same across a lot of the big tokens. You look at Polkadot, for example. Once we get moving, Polkadot will fly. If you think about this area here, we had March 2024, 1185, and then we had December, 1160. Once we clear that, there's no real resistance in the dot chart. You could say something in and around this area here, but that's $18. We're at $3.70 right now. And then once you get above that, you've got 24 up here, which will be a resistance. And then after that, you're pretty much up to 36. So could Polkadot do a 10x from here? Absolutely, 100% it could. Now, will it? Who knows? But it definitely looks possible. It definitely looks like it can get there. And again, it's that thing, is a 10x on Polkadot unrealistic? Not at all. Is it a bit safer than some of the small market caps? 100%. So that's where bigger capitals go flow. And that's why I think there's a big place for these coins. And on top of that, that's where the capital rotation comes from. If you think about who probably holds things like Chainlink, Polkadot, VeChain, all these coins right now, it's just crypto degens that have been around for years. They hold these coins. So if an ETF pours in a couple of billion into these, they're going to make loads of money. That money is going to flow into other projects because they're going to chase risk. Not the ETF, the actual retail investors. So yeah, we're going to see massive moves. And that's before we even get to money printing. I've said before, I think total 2. In fact, we could draw a fib on it, but even if we just do the fib from here to here, the target for total 2, the altcoin market, you know, he's talking 3.5 to 4.3 trillion, somewhere in that range. It's just wild capital that's going to flow into this market over the next 6 months. I think the key thing for everybody that's watching, I'm assuming most people hold a majority of their crypto and altcoins, is just Bitcoin dominance. We see that we never got above the 786 retracement, which is very bullish. I think that's us. I can't see it happening now. I think we're going to probably get news on ETFs. The Genius Act was a massive move. Stablecoins being regulated is huge for the industry. I think next up's ETFs. You can see the 3-day chart, the weekly chart, the daily chart. Everything looks bearish for dominance. I think once we get back below the 702, we might get a move down. Let me try and draw it on. So I think if we could get down here, we'd probably get a check back to the 702, test it as resistance, and then that's when the move gets much faster. So I think until we get this rejection of the 702, I think we'll probably just see Bitcoin continue to dominate. We'll see altcoins have little isolated pumps across the market. You saw like Sui today, 11%, huge move. We saw like Opulus with 12%, Inspect 22%. I think we'll see little pockets of moves. You've got Hedera over 6% today. I think that will continue until we really get that breakdown of dominance. Let's have a look at the Velo chart. So, still in quite a tight range on the daily. I think when this range breaks, you could see quite a nice aggressive move higher, probably up somewhere around 0.022. But if you zoom out, the chart looks crazy for Velo. Clearly higher lows all along, higher highs technically as well. It's quite a healthy looking chart. Let's see. You look at something like, it's kind of, I think it's called like a microphone pattern or something like that, or megaphone. So you can see it's double tapped on the bottom trend line. So could it head higher up to kind of 0.05? That's probably the next likely target to put in another higher high, which would be very bullish. Big move as well, 5x from here. Welcome to the stream, A98RJ, good day. Something that not a lot of people have been speaking about recently is Alvara, which is strange. Normally get loads of questions on Alvara. Mainnet is coming. I think it's the 12th of August. Mainnet drops. So massively bullish for this. Disappointing for everybody that took part that it's been a lot longer than expected for Mainnet to get launched. But to me, it doesn't really matter if the product then works. So for anyone that doesn't know, Alvara is going to allow you to create on-chain baskets with tokens and now tokenized equities, and anyone can follow you. So you can set up your own basket and people can follow you and you earn fees from people following you. But the reason it's so bullish for us who took part in the Alvara seed round is every time somebody creates a basket, 2.5% of the basket has to go to the Alvara token, so there's buy pressure, and then 2.5% that you buy is matched with a burn, so there's a buy and burn mechanism on the Alvara token every time somebody creates a basket. For me, that is hugely bullish. I think we will see a massive move from Alvara as we get closer to mainnet. I think there will be speculative buying in the run-up. But more importantly, once mainnet's launched, the Alvara token should climb higher and higher. And they've also, the technology they've got, they can license to hedge funds and investment managers and institutions to create their own baskets. And they've already got one hedge fund that I think's paying something like $10 million to utilize the technology. So yeah, watch this space. Alvara, I think by September will be much higher than 20 cents where it sits today. Seed round was 15 cents, I think. So what's that, 33% gain right now? This thing goes way higher, so I wouldn't even talk about taking profit down here, but nice to see some gains as well. Good question. I think for me, I'd be looking for at least 150, so 10x from seed round. I would take that, to be fair. I went quite heavy on Alvara because I absolutely love the product. I absolutely love what they're doing. I think there's so much crypto that's just creating like nonsense projects that nobody ever wants to use. But with Alvara, I can see why everybody would use it. So any brand, any KOL, any influencer will mint their own basket. They'd be stupid not to. Because if they do really well, that's the best advertising they can get. It shows that they know what they're talking about in crypto. But at the same time, they earn fees. So they can earn some revenue from creating a basket and people following. Any institution can make money off it. But ultimately, just the average investor will probably mint a basket just to try it, just to use it. And again, just to show they do or do not know what they're talking about. So I think there will be huge demand for Alvara. So I think 150 would be my target at least. That's a 10x from seed round. I think if I'd done that, I'd be pretty happy, to be fair, with my investment, even though it's taken a bit longer. A 10x, you can't really argue with a 10x in my opinion. And again, like I say, I think speaking for everybody that took part in the seed round, I think we all loved the product the first time we heard about it, and that's why we invested so much. So it's nice to see it come through and be a real product that's going to work and have users, which is rare in this space right now. Yeah, to be fair, like, you've got a point. It's hard to gauge because it's a product or a project with no history and nothing similar, but that's what sets it apart. That's what's so exciting about it for me, is that it's on chain. There's nothing like it, and it's got mass appeal. So yeah, bullish on Alvara. I know there's quite a few people that hold SWE. I'm not sure if any of the CC Pro members that talk about it all the time are on, but SWE has shown some massive strength, looking very nice, breaking back above the 200-day moving average. I set this as an alert because I think we were talking about it in CC Pro, but I think the all-time high will come quite quick for SWE. There's so much hype around it. I don't really get it, to be honest. I don't pay too much attention to the hype, but chart-wise, there's not a lot of resistance. I think it might get stuck around kind of 385. Of course, like up here 430, and then all-time high, and then I think it just goes higher and higher. If it goes to $9, I wouldn't be surprised. I think the fibs go up to like 13. I don't know if I'd be hanging about for 13. Somewhere around $7 looks like an amazing profit taking target for it. So yeah, for anyone that holds SWE, then I think it could be quite a nice bull run for it. Arbitrum absolutely killed since it launched. This was like me and Dex pet project to absolutely diss every stream. It's now actually being used, so probably not as useless as we once thought, but down massively from this peak back in January 2024. We're still down 85%, 84%. It does look like it's trying to recover, broken out of the downtrend today. that it's been in. But on the higher time frames, if we look at the 3 days, or maybe in the weekly, looks better. Double bottom. So you would expect this to start moving pretty quickly. And again, this is one bullish thing about how brutal crypto's been. Everybody that wants to sell sold. They're out the market. Yeah, 75 cents for Arbitrum probably coming sooner rather than later. But there's so much selling pressure that's gone on. There's not a lot of sell pressure in the market. That means that once things start going, I do think we'll see crazy rallies across the space, because I think charts have been absolutely decimated, which means that the upside moves will just be as violent. So I think it could be quite an interesting few months. I think people should have a plan. We bang on about this all the time, but if you've not got a profit-taking plan, you're going to get caught out. You're going to get caught holding on to coins into a bear market that these coins might not return from. So I would make sure you have a plan. If you're in CC Pro, we've done loads of content on profit taking levels, how to take profit. So if you're not in CC Pro, again, you're missing out on that. But yeah, make sure you've got a plan, because I think the time is coming when you're wanting to get as much capital out the markets as possible. But yeah, Arbitrum absolutely destroyed. I think once it breaks 50 cents, we'll probably see quite a violent upside move. CRV, normally I get asked about this, not been asked about this tonight, which is interesting. So CRV on the 3-day has reclaimed the 200-day moving average, quite a bullish sign. On the daily chart, we're still below the 200-day moving average, which now sits at quite a key level. So we always talk about confluence, but if you look where the 200-day moving average is going to line up, probably around the 63 cent level. Well, if you look back, you've got resistance here, resistance in here, pretty much resistance all along that zone. So I think, like so many charts, the 200-day moving average is meeting key resistance areas. Once we get through that, that's a big hurdle to overcome, and then from there we should see a lot of strength. There's another coin I wanted to show, because probably a lot of people haven't spoke about it because it's not listed hardly anywhere these days, is Monero. So Monero looks like it's in some big massive cup and handle formation. I don't really buy into these on such a big time frame, but if you look at on the smaller time frame, it does look like it's going to form a cup here. 403 would be the resistance, probably then check back down to about 370 and then much higher. I think this will do crazy gains in the coming few months. It's a privacy coin, so yeah, I think we all understand why that might be important. And Sushi, another example of tokens that are still down at their bear market lows, but huge upside potential. And you see when this moves, it moves pretty quick. Still down 68 cents. Realistically, if it clears this, so this is the December high, which matches the February 2022 low. Once it clears 277, Sushi will fly, absolutely fly. So you could easily see a 10x on Sushi, easy. And if you watch what Uniswap's doing right now, again, banging on about this for months. Uniswap now at the 200-day moving average and the 200-week moving average. We get through that and Uniswap will just start popping off these local highs. I think it's going to be a very big bull run for Uniswap, especially with so many stable coins on Ethereum and on Base. That's going to be massive for Uniswap. I think as well the tokenized stocks are going to be on Arbitrum and Solana. So the Arbitrum ones will flow through Uniswap as well. So you're just going to have millions and millions of dollars in daily volume flowing through these dexes. And that's why I've been so bullish on DEX tokens for months. I think the last video I did with Uniswap was, Uniswap was down below $5. And we actually took a trade on it. Sadly, we closed that a long time ago, but yeah, almost double, and doesn't look like stopping. Look at Bitcoin, still showing huge strength, 113k. This little tested support earlier today was really nice on the 4-hour time frame. I think we're going to get that all the way up. I think one day soon we're going to get a massive short squeeze on Bitcoin and Ethereum. We seem to have these little kind of sell-off / retracements right around the US opening. So watch for that tomorrow, especially with it being a Friday. Market will probably, if it stays strong overnight, you'll see it gets to about 11, 12 a.m. UK time, 12 noon, lunchtime. And then the market just goes into a bit of sell-off, a bit sideways, a bit consolidation, and about half three, once the US stock market's opened and everybody's calmed down, that's when we suddenly see a bit of recovery. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that tomorrow. Realistically, Ethereum looks so strong. Never even had much of a red candle today. Bounced perfectly off this kind of candle top from 29th of May. It's now out of this parallel channel, and technically the target for this move is 3370. If we call this a bull flag. So the most important thing for me is daily and weekly closes now. You look at Ethereum on the daily time frame. Let me just draw this on. This blue line. You can see candle high from February, candle high from June. We're now back there. Once we break that and close above it on the daily and then the weekly, I think we're going to be showing huge strength. And yeah, that's kind of where I said earlier, you still want to proceed with caution. I think an Ethereum weekly close above 2820, I don't think anyone will be showing much caution. I think that'll be alt season, full blown green candles, and everybody will be excited. We're not even cooling off too much on the shorter time frames either. XRP, literally one candle and then boom, a couple of candles in here. This was today, just before the US stock opening. You can see literally 10 a.m. green candle, going into a bit of sideways. Stock market opens, everybody calms down, and then we fly. I think that pattern repeats. Be interesting how we get on tomorrow. If we keep showing strength tomorrow, I think we'll also get a bullish weekend. Let me check if there's any macro headlines tomorrow. None for the US, which is nice to see. And then next week we should have CPI. Yeah, Tuesday we've got US CPI. If CPI inflation comes in less than 2.4%, which true inflation suggests it should, oil prices as well, then the market is going to explode. We'll see massive moves. I think the one thing everybody should be aware of, we will eventually get a retracement. So it's not going to be up only. So I do think if XRP gets to 265, expect us to come back, maybe even as deep as the 200-day moving average at 237, which right now seems like luxury. But to retrace, what that be, 11%, it'll feel brutal. And everybody will be saying, oh, we're going back lower. Everybody will come out bearish again. I even saw people on Twitter today saying this is a bull trap. There will be violent retracements. You just need to kind of ride through them. But yeah, I think we will get a retracement once we get to the top of some of these ranges. What's interesting to me is where Bitcoin continues to 113k. You would like to think it's going to be somewhere kind of the 125k range. Draw on some fibs and see where we get to. Yeah, 120k, the 1.618 from this move. I think we get there pretty soon. If we get there in the next 4 days, then I'm taking my claim of 120k in June as correct. I did say the Iran-Israel thing had delayed me 2 weeks, so I've got 4 days to hit 120k. Bitcoin looks like it could do it, to be fair, and the fibs look crazy bullish for the next few weeks. Fraser's asking about Galactica. So Galactica are doing some community initiative. To be honest, I only saw the update earlier. I don't know full details, but I think you can earn tokens by basically helping test out their network. TG should come soon. They have announced a big institutional partner to tokenize $500 million worth of, I think it's real estate, or it could be equities. $500 million worth as a test, but that could scale into the billions if it goes well. On top of that, they have started working with other projects as well. So their technology was almost like on-chain identity, and they've started working with several projects, several institutions that'll benefit. I think there's like a recruitment one, so you could have like an on-chain CV, stuff like that, on-chain skills. So I think we'll see some movement on Galactica. I did ask for an update today, so if I get that in the next couple of days, I'll drop it in CC Pro and find out when TG is happening. I would imagine green in the markets, there's going to be a bit of clamouring for people to launch tokens. So yeah, I would expect it in the next couple of weeks. I think that's one of the reasons we launched Vantage, was because there is so much in crypto that's like fugazi. Like it doesn't really, it's not really delivered on the promise of crypto. We think Vantage does, because it democratizes finance, it allows people access, it allows people to earn passive income. It's just such a good use of the technology. It would be good to see some other products and projects actually deliver, and that's why we're so bullish on things like Alvara. But I think you'll see much more. I speak to a lot of people in crypto, and there's some really cool projects that are launching hopefully soon, but just with the market being so long, slow and quite tough, it's kind of knocked a lot of projects back from a fundraising point of view. Good question, A98RJ. So every time somebody uses Uniswap, there's fees, and those fees get rotated back into the token. So every time somebody uses Uniswap, it's bullish for the Uniswap token. That's why they all have DEX tokens. And that's why I think, is it Bybit are launching a DEX token, because they've just rolled out a DEX. And everybody's going to use a DEX. That's the thing. DEX volumes are now, I think, over 35% of all trading volume. That's going to go up to 50% in the next few months, especially with Hyperliquid, Jupiter, Radium, all these things. DEXs are going to be massive, but then AI will use DEXs. They're not going to use centralized exchanges. I met a founder the other day that's building an AI program where you can literally type in whatever you want. So you could type in, every time Jerome Powell talks about QE, buy Bitcoin, buy $100 of Bitcoin, and it'll go and do it for you. It'll go and execute the trade for you. You could do it on somebody tweeting. You could do it on the weather. You could literally do anything. You can create all these crazy rules just using AI. You don't need any coding skills, but it works through a DEX, so it does all your transactions through a DEX. You could even do every time your favorite influencer tweets about a project, go and buy $100 of that project. You could do that, and it'll go and find the token, buy it for you, put it in your wallet, and it all happens on DEXs. So that's why I'm so bullish on DEXs, because the volume is going to be insane when people start using AI to trade, to buy crypto, to sell crypto, to manage their portfolio. All that volume is going to go through a DEX, and DEX tokens will do well from it. Jamie's saying the XRP chart is a thing of beauty. Yeah, to be fair, XRP literally on every time frame looks mega bullish. Look at the hourly, it's just insane, breaking out. It's actually so nice to watch. 4 hour straight up, but we've broken out of this downward wedge, then we went at a sideways range. There's a million different patterns playing out, and then on the daily we are almost, well, we've broken the first target and we're getting close to the second target, which is 266. I think I can't see us flying through 266. I think that's where we'll get a bit of a, maybe a rejection, but at least a bit of cooling off. Now, one thing I did want to mention on stream, Solana. I think Solana's one to watch, especially this weekend. So if we look at where Solana is, look at it on the daily time frame, you can see we're right at the May wick low, the wick low from back in October, and some other key areas in here. This weekend, Pump.Fun is having a pre-sale for its token. 600 million, I think they're trying to raise, so slightly more than Vantage, but their valuation's at a 4 billion valuation at launch. The 600 million is they're raising apparently on Saturday. The Pump.Fun token will earn fees from the platform, but it's all Solana based. So right now it's kind of up for debate. Is it going to be a local top for Solana, or is it going to absolutely supercharge Solana and send it back to all-time highs? Now, if we go back in time, if we think about what actually caused most of this move, it was the meme coin craze that caused this kind of, after we chopped sideways, we moved parabolic, and it was meme coin craze that caused that. So, be interested to see if this kickstarts something on the Solana ecosystem. It's happening on Saturday, which is hugely bullish for anyone that's not on Wall Street. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. That's happening on Saturday, so something to watch. Could it go the other way? You know, Trump's meme coin sucked a lot of the liquidity out of the market. I don't think this has the potential to do that. I think a lot of people are looking at it as overvalued. I think anyone buying it will probably be big players. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but just a word of caution. Solana's coming up for the 200-day moving average. We'll get through that. Then yeah, I expect Solana to move up to kind of the 220 range pretty quickly. And maybe that's the catalyst the market needs. You know, maybe Pump.Fun launching a token is the attention, the excitement, the hype that everybody actually needs. And if it does well, people rotate those profits and it kind of sends the market higher. So yeah, something to watch this weekend. The Vantage pre-sale is still open. The public sale is open now. CC Pro closed the other night within an hour. Get your tokens. We believe this is going to be massive for everybody that follows us. Returning passive income every month. We're pretty confident we're going to deliver better returns than any other product you can find, and actually deliver some value to altcoin holders. So public sales open, the link is in the chat, and that is us for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be back probably over the weekend with some breakout streams if we continue to see the strength in the market. Until then, catch you later.